lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of the Hobby Hangout on Sports Cards Live. It is Friday night, April the 28th, 2023, and my name is Jeremy Lee. Let you all know, tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern on the channel, we have Corey Fick from Show Your Slabs joining the show. Going to be a great show with him. He's got lots to talk about, lots of opinions on things, and of course, his experience with starting up a company in the hobby during the pandemic. Check that out tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern. I want to thank everybody who joined the 3-year anniversary episode 2 Saturdays ago on the channel. Appreciate that. We had 25 guests. We had 28 giveaways. It was a ton of fun. So thank you everybody for that, and especially everybody who joined and watched. But let's get to the business at hand tonight. We are recapping the Spring Sport Card Expo in Toronto. We've got 4 panelists joining us. Let's bring out Sam. How you doing, buddy?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. All right, let's bring out Coach Brendan. What is going on, pal?
Not much, man.
It's very late where you are, isn't it?
I wouldn't say very late. It's very late for me.
I appreciate you staying up past your bedtime. Mikey Singer. And how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. As I said before, I'm 30 minutes from a baby dream feed, so everything is rolling here in Toronto.
Right on. I can see you're wearing the slab chain right now, and we have Case Hits Reed. Reed, what's going on, buddy? Your first time on the channel. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, Jeremy. I'm excited.
Well, so I'm going to just start with you really quick, Reed.
Okay.
The reason why I said to you, well, first of all, I saw your pickup, the J-Rob Gold Cup RPA jersey number. And I saw the show and I'm like, this is it's a great card. And then as you posted on Instagram yesterday, I was like, I don't think I really appreciate it as much as I should have, like just for myself, I was like, maybe you come on and tell the story, because it was a pretty cool story. A lot of the planning happened right around my booth at Expo. Yeah. So I wanted to bring you on to tell that story. So thanks for being here and making the time tonight. For everybody watching, you can see everybody's Instagram handle is on the ticker. Give these guys a follow if you have not already. Scott Noble's in the house, and Scott, was good to see you at the Expo, and I saw your Hobby Insider post as well. Congrats on your pickups. Daniel Busby, good to see you. Been a long time. Hell, we're doing an off Friday night here, so welcome. And Diamond Card Collector, good to see you too. So just to lay out a little bit of the plan here, we've got Coach Co and we've got Mikey for the first part. So we're going to start with these guys. Chris from Dolly's, I see you. And got to give a shout out to this guy, Ladies Man, right here. Ladies Man won. And Ladies Man, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I still have it right here. Ladies Man won this box during the 3-year anniversary episode 2 weeks ago, and then gave it to me at the Expo and said, find someone to give this away to. And Sam, who was with me at the booth, remember, I was like, I've got to find the right person to give this to. And unfortunately, I haven't yet. So Ladies Man, I promise you, I will find someone to give that to, perhaps at the Edmonton Expo next weekend. So thank you, Ladies Man. Chris from Dolly's in the house. We've got Matt from the Essential Credentials. That's all you would have had to do, Matt, was be at the Expo and buy a nice card for you. But the key is that it was a PC pickup for Reed. And I thought that was super compelling for me anyway. So Mikey, we're going to start with you right now, buddy, because first of all, you got a baby to feed in 25 minutes, but you are like, why don't you explain what your role is with Expo? Because you're not just an attendee like the rest of us.
Yeah, so I have an event management company that the owner of the Expo hires us on, and has done so since 2018 to help run and operate the show. And one of the things that I can say is this, for the 4th show in a row, was a record-breaking show in terms of attendance, in terms of number of booths, in terms of setups that you saw there. It's the first time in all my years, which is 20 years of doing consumer events, that I've seen a double-decker consumer trade show booth. So kudos to Upper Deck for bringing that in. I don't know. I'm sure everyone on here had the chance to go visit the Upper Deck and take a look over the show. It was really cool. It speaks to how much the hobby has grown and how much it has changed. Even in 2018, when I first came in, the show was 3/4 of Hall 5. It now encompasses 3 distinct halls with Hall 5, the Connector, and Hall 4. Each area providing different sort of feel to the show. In Hall 4, we have all of our autographed guests and our main stage content that 2 of our great contributors were on there. In the Connector, it's more booths and a through fair. And I know a lot of people love being in that area, as well as Hall 4. And then in Hall 5, we have, tenants who've been there for a long time. Some of the guys who are inside that hall have been there for 20, like Glory Day Sports and some of the others. And then some new guys like Tag, right? Which is a shirt 2 of you guys are wearing. They had an awesome setup. So they had an interactive setup along with eBay and a few of our other vendors who are coming in there and really making the show more fun. It's not just about collecting cards or trading cards. It's about the overall hobby, learning technology, seeing what's going on. Way more kids. Honestly, we did a giveaway for kids on the show on the stage on Friday, and I thought for sure I'm going to see 5 kids. There was so many kids skipping school to come to the show, which to me speaks to the health of the hobby, right? Whether prices are up or down, there is more participation in the hobby, more excitement around it, more kids getting into it in a healthy way too. These kids are far more savvy than I was in the 90s. They are coming loaded with comps on eBay. They know the newest app that's out there. They are well versed in it. They come with their cases. They are looking to trade, and they know their business. So it's really nice to see. And again, the growth of the show overall. And I don't want to bogart the whole talk here. I see I've been speaking for 3 minutes straight, so I'll hand it back to you, Jeremy.
No, thanks, Mike, and thanks for the information. I do have some follow-up comments. First of all, Upper Deck's booth was amazing. That double-decker booth was awesome, but as awesome was their playlist. I mean, Sam was at my booth with me the whole time. We could hear their music because my booth is right close to Upper Deck's. I really liked the music that they were playing. It was right up my alley. So first of all, I want to shout them out for that. You mentioned all-time attendance record. Saturday was an absolute jungle. Do you guys all agree? Was it just nuts in there on Saturday? And Friday was
Madness.
good. Friday was busy too. Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, Saturday was madness. Like I got there when the show opened on Saturday, and I was there literally till the close. And I mean, there were several times where I couldn't walk, and that's a good thing, like that's. If all 3 days were like that, then it'd probably be a little bit much, but it was nicely tapered off with Thursday's industry night where you get to chat with everyone you haven't seen in quite some time. Friday, it was actually pretty busy, especially when it started to get into the afternoon. And then Saturday, right from, basically doors open was just absolutely rammed. And I didn't get a chance to attend Sunday, so I don't know what that was like.
Comfortably and safely rammed. Comfortably.
Yeah. It wasn't. Yes, it was. Yes,
well, one thing that's interesting, I was listening to a podcast, Big Ken, Sports Card Lessons. He came up from the States. I'm not exactly sure where he lives, but somewhere on the East Coast there. He came up, and he's a hockey guy. Anyway, he came up to the show, and he did a podcast a few days ago kind of talking about his experience. And one of the comments he made was that the aisles are so wide, there's a lot of room to walk around, and he's comparing it to all the shows on the East Coast. So that's a great thing. For anyone who's never been or who's thinking about going, whether you're in Canada or the States or elsewhere, kind of nice to know that it's a comfortable show to walk around in. And that's probably why when it was a complete zoo in there on Saturday, in a good way, just how busy it wasn't really uncomfortable. There might have been a few times where you couldn't walk down the aisle. You had to stop and wait for people to get out of your way. But otherwise, as busy as it is, it's still a comfortable environment there for sure. Mike, you mentioned kids. So I've got lots of family, lots of cousins with kids in the GTA, in the Toronto area. And one of my first cousins came with his little guy who's probably 10 or 11 years old, and he brought two of his friends. Well, usually they come just to see me, just to say hi to me because I'm in town at the show. This time they didn't come to see me. I mean, they saw me, but they came to be at the show. And my cousin, who's about my vintage, he couldn't hang out with me because these kids are young. You have to keep an eye on them. But that it just goes to show, to kind of add on to what you're saying, Mikey, there were so many kids at the show. It's awesome. Like it gives me a good feeling about the hobby, seeing that many kids walking around and, and they're going, he shows me a card he got. What do you think of it? I traded this for that. I'm like, sounds good. Are you having fun? Yeah, I'm having a good time. Well, that's all that matters, so that was pretty awesome.
And I'll go even a level higher. So the exhibitors themselves are being fantastic with the kids that are coming in. They're giving them time. They're walking through cards with them. They're talking about it. They won't buy necessarily everything that they have, nor should they, right? Like it should be some life lessons for these kids, but they're giving them their time, which again is a far different experience as a hobbyist in the 90s as a 12-year-old walking into Fastball Sports Cards. It was not a friendly, teach me experience. It was buy this pack of 1987 Donruss Kid for $35 or get the hell out of the shop. Right. Yeah. So it is a different mentality. You have a lot of new people who are in the hobby and people who've stayed in the hobby have done it because they truly care and they're helping guide kids along. So it's really nice to see and is definitely helping the show overall. And people like yourself. Right, like you are a beacon of content creators. People come to your booth. It's a hangout. I see everyone with a camera at least stop by your booth in every single show we do.
Yeah, well, I just love hanging out with everybody. So it's a lot. It was it was nice to see. We had a few people like Reed's crew with Mitch, and we had Stammer at the booth, and we had Sam at the booth, and. These guys, it's funny, like how many times I saw people at the booth say, "Oh, you're such and such on Instagram. Nice to put a face to a name. Fist bump. How's your show going? What'd you pick up?" Like it's really cool how smooth the transition can go from Instagram to in person. And really, like there was one night where I went for supper. Reed, you were there. No one else on the screen was at that dinner. But I mean, I just ended up out for dinner with, 6 or 7 guys because you happen to be leaving the show at the same time, whatever it is. And some guys, you're meeting each other. It's a lot of fun. But I want to mention one more thing about kids quickly. And I always say when a kid comes to your booth at a card show, whether they bring their cards in a paper bag or an old shoebox or a card box, and they say, "Hey, are you trading or do you want to look at my cards?" Your reflex answer right away has to be yes. I will look at your cards. Doesn't matter. You always say yes to a kid, right? And I found myself doing that at this show, even though I was doing it, but I was busy. I had things going on here and there, but I took the time away to do that. And at times I was like, kind of. Yes, I want to do it for the kid, but I'm also like, there's so much stuff I want to do. So my point is, you have to make a point and be committed to doing that because sometimes the action and the deal potential can override your willingness to do that. And I had to kind of fight with myself to not rush through and say, not for me, or to rush through and try and find something. But the kids, it was great having the kids there. I noticed on Thursday, Mikey, Hall 4 wasn't very busy. Some of the vendors didn't show up, I believe. And then I heard that by whether it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that it was and I came in there to hit the main stage a few times. It was jam-packed in there. What can you tell us about the evolution of Hall 4, which is, for anybody who's watching that doesn't know, Hall 4 is like the new addition over the last couple of expos to the overall venue. And it's accessible by a connector. You don't have to go outside to get there. And it's another huge hall, but it's new to the expo. How was it through your eyes, Mikey, in terms of how Hall 4 is evolving and how the dealers in there are, interacting with all the customers?
So I'll give you a quick evolution of how it formed. So when we came back after the pandemic, because the show was virtual for 3 shows in between, we never stopped running. But when we came back, we knew we had a much bigger demand than we could serve inside even Hall 5 alone. So we were already looking for alternatives. So if you remember, we went through the conference center and it sort of wrapped around the show into Hall 2. And it was a little bit of a Frankenstein setup. So we knew when we came back the next show, which was the June show, if I'm not mistaken, it was just the spring show, let's call it. We knew we had to add to the show. And that was the first year that we added both the connector, which is a hall in and of itself, and Hall 4. And the key for us was to make it as interesting as possible because you know what? Every single one of those vendors is a great vendor as well. There's a lot of great activity in there. So having the stage and making sure that it drew people in, having the autograph area, and then having the vendors who were going to be committed. As you saw Thursday night, a lot of them are newer to the industry, so they didn't realize we had a Thursday night. A little bit of that's on our communication. But by Friday, when that hall was full and the connector was full, it was jammed. It was jumping in there. I think the big takeaway for us is playing more music, adding an ambiance. eBay did it in their sort of middle section. Upper Deck did it in their little area. Tag did it with their music and the hockey going on and the 3Ms having a party back there. It was great, right? So that really adds to the show and the fun, and it just feels like it's not just about buying and trading; it's about being surrounded by the hobby. That's what's so cool about our trade night, right? Our trade night isn't your average trade night. Mink's in there with their own house DJ, partying it up. It's a real good time. It runs right after the show. You just flow right into it. So yeah, all of it is to make it more of an experience than just buying cards, which we all did anyways too.
Mikey, you got into the hobby once you started working with the Expo. That's what kind of got you back into the hobby, at least I believe. And you've become quite the hobbyist. Like, you are a collector. You like to buy cards. I think you like to sell some cards sometimes. But did you pick up any cards at this Expo with how busy you were running around and making sure everything was flowing from an organizational perspective? Did you get to add anything to your collection?
Oh yeah, of course. I picked up Connor McDavid, OPG update, Rainbow Foil PSA 10. I picked up an Austin Matthews marquee Rainbow Foil PSA 10, both from Slab Shark. So kudos to the Slab Shark boys, who are also exhibitors of the show. And I've been collecting a lot of the Optic rated rookie purple scope to 85. So I picked up a Kevin Huter. I can't say his name on Sacramento, who better be shooting threes well tonight. But I've got a couple of those, and I've been scooping those up over the last 3 years of drafts. So adding a couple of those was really great. And then I'm also collecting the whole set of these. And so someone on Instagram who like we were talking about leading up to the show, had a bunch of the off-brand players, the TJ Fords and stuff like that of the world. So I ended up scooping up with him. We talked about this, Jeremy, although not right at the show, it was a result of the show that we were able to make that connection and that sale.
Yeah, right on. I'm still doing deals as a result of people that I saw at the show and saw my stuff, and had to go ship some stuff out today. So it's fun. The hangover deals that come after Expo. I see everybody's nodding. I think we all have some of that going on. So, well, that's cool, Mikey. Anything, I want to switch over to Brendan because you guys have to leave the earliest, but is there anything else, Mikey, about the show that sticks out to you that you'd like people to know? Anything you'd like to let people know about the Edmonton show? Because in a week today, you and me, at least I think only us two on the screen, are going to be at the Edmonton Expo. I can't wait. Like a show 1 week, and then 2 weekends later we have another show. I'm super excited for that one. But anything else you'd like to add about last week's Toronto Expo or next week's Edmonton Expo?
Yeah, just kudos to Steve Benzie, the owner of the show, for having the balls to really take the risks. We talked about the formation of taking the halls. That's an expensive proposition and a risk that anyone took, and he jumps in with both feet. Moving the show to Edmonton last year for the first time, which was a huge success, but no one knows until those doors open. So kudos to him for doing it. And then, this will be the third show in like 4 weeks for us. We were also in Strongsville running that event prior to Toronto. But again, great to see the growth of Toronto. Great to see the content creators who are coming in. So, quick story before I hand it over to Brandon, but how I met him was on TikTok. I was harassing Brandon to come into the show. I'm like, I love your stuff. I think it's so awesome. I think Brandon had like 4,000 followers. He's at 31,000 now.
Something like that,
yeah. He's, so I bugged him, and then I saw him at the show, and I'm just like, Brandon, I love your stuff. I'm going to bring you over to eBay. I can't wait to work together. And then we've been talking ever since. We brought Jay in from Mojo Sports this year, Aaron from Slab Stocks. So great to see that content coming in, and more content creators who are coming in, hopefully in November, who I've been talking to throughout the year.
Well, and it's one thing to bring these guys in, or kind of lure them in, if you will. It's another thing to see how much they love the show and to see their authentic response to it when they're producing their content after. Because I talked to all these guys, they loved the show, they loved the Toronto Expo, so that's great. I think you called out Steve, and Steve does an amazing job with the Expo. So between you guys, I think and some of the risks that Steve's willing to take, and the initiatives, Mikey, that you are pursuing, because really you're the one, you're going out there and putting together, as far as I know, you're putting together the main stage schedule. It's there. The lineup of autograph guests too was amazing this year. This year was amazing last time too. So the show's looking great. Very happy about it. Happy to be, going on 18 or so years of coming to the Expo as a vendor, and a couple more as just an attendee. So I can't wait for more and more expos. As Sam will know, and Amit couldn't make it tonight, but he'll know too that as soon as the Expo ends, we start counting down the days till the next one. So. Hey, Sam, is that kind of how it goes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right away.
I got the Expo blues right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. All right. Well, Mikey, you're welcome to hang out until you got to go, but so please do. But I want to get some stuff out of Brendan, Coach Co, because he's also going to duck out a bit early. But Brendan, I'll reiterate what Mikey said. You're obviously I've referred to you as a TikTok sensation. I'm sure that makes you really comfortable, right? Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was referred to or introduced to someone as the TikTok guy. So it was actually quite comical. I was walking around with Ray, and he was just like, "This is the TikTok guy." I'm like, "This is hilarious."
Ray Schulte from Collectible Media. Yeah. So Brendan, let's hear your perspective of the Expo. You've been before. But how did you find this one? What was it like for Coach Co walking the aisles, and your experience being on the main stage and just meeting people? Tell us about how it was for you.
Yeah, I honestly, every year that I am in this hobby, I feel like it just gets better and better, and my experience keeps getting better and better. And that also applies to the Expo. If I look back on the 2021 Expo, and then we look at the one that just passed this spring, it's just considerably different. Not just because the organizers are doing an amazing job, Mikey and Steve and all of the people that are in charge of running the show. And as we mentioned previously, with the way that they're innovating, with the way that it's very apparent that people who attend the show as just unbiased, that they're bringing people in, whether it's for autographs, whether it's other content creators who are well known. I mean, we see the guys over at David Adams creating content. We see Kyle Kravitz from King of the Cards creating content. I mean, we've seen Jeff Wilson a few times. We've seen relatively big names in the sports card space in terms of a content creation perspective, people that are well recognized and generally speaking don't make the trip up to Toronto quite ever. Until recently, right? So it's amazing to see advancements like that, and all of that has kind of contributed to, me having a great show, just from an experience perspective. And then, it also, the amount of people that come up to me on a regular basis is actually super humbling, and it's amazing to, be able to take pictures with families, and just like someone be like, oh, like my kid loves your stuff, like can he take a picture with you, and he says he wants to grow a mustache, and stuff like that really kind of puts things into perspective, like what kind of impact you can have, just kind of talking about something you love, right? And so I have nothing but good things to say about every expo, but specifically this one was by far my favorite one, and I'm sure that the next one is probably going to be my favorite one after that. So
That's the way it goes. Exactly that
Yeah.
way. I had the best
Yeah.
expo ever, and then next
Yeah.
time it's the best expo ever. I wonder
Yeah.
if we have short memories or if it's actually the way it is. But I mean, this.
I'm a
yeah,
Leaf
this-
fan,
this
so
one-
I have to have a short memory,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I'm rooting for you guys. Just one more in 2 games, right? Yeah, it was a great overall weekend. I want to bring up this comment here from Todd McDonald. Good evening. Great to chat with you at the Expo. Amazing evening at Jack Astor. So I want to thank you for that, Todd. It was good to see you, as it always is now. But Jack Astor's Thursday night. It's an event that I've been planning for several years now, even before I had Sports Cards Live. And we used to get, anywhere from 12 to 20 people. We had over 80 people come to Jack Astor's on Thursday night. When they called me at like 7:45 saying, "Are you guys coming?" I said, "Yes, we're coming." And I said, crossing my fingers, and it's gonna fill. So don't leave out, don't fill it up with anybody else. We're coming. And we got there and it filled up, and it was a ton of fun. So I mean, I'm gonna keep on doing that. Anytime there's an expo in Toronto, you can count on Thursday night. Jack Astor's, if you're coming, it's an open invitation. It's if you see me advertising it on this show, on Sports Cards Live, or on Instagram, or wherever, on Hobby Insider, everybody's welcome to come. And not everybody knows each other. People kind of mix, and I felt that it was a good mixer event. So everyone on the screen was there except for you, Mikey. But Sam was there. Brendan, you came. Reed was there with his crew. Mikey, you're forgiven. You're busy. You got a lot going on there.
Just running the show and a baby.
And a baby. But I also want to thank Upper Deck, because Upper Deck on Thursday at the show, they came up to me and they gave me this big box filled with packs to give out that night. It was like 80 packs of cards that I got to give one out to basically everyone who came got a pack of cards. So that's kind of fun, right? I thought it was pretty cool, and wanted to give a shout out to Upper Deck. And then I had to leave early. I actually had to leave the event at about 10:15 because I had to go do the PWCC premiere show, which I've been doing for like 2 years now. And Adam, who my partner on the show, started, and I went and did it, and we actually went till like 2 a.m. So it was quite it was a late, yeah. And then you can't sleep, and you're up at 7:30 to go to the show again. So
Yeah.
but it was a good time overall. So thank you guys for coming that did. And again, for anybody who's watching, listening, you're all welcome and invited to that in the future. So let's talk about pickups. Brendan, did you pick up any cards for yourself?
I did, yeah. I went in there and I didn't really have a ton in mind when I got there, and it's kind of like my game plan with every expo, where I just kind of feel it out, and then by the time the end of Thursday rolls around, I'm like, I know exactly what I want, and I've kind of pinpointed the booths, and if it's like an accumulation play, then I'm like, I know exactly how much I want to pay. I know exactly how much people have it listed for. Like, I'm not willing to budge on these numbers. So for me, I'm building the 2005-2006 Upper Deck set, the Young Guns. So these are a perfect opportunity. Like this show specifically is a perfect opportunity for me to find the 1 or 2 or 3 that like I'm missing usually. And I also have like this ambitious goal of grading them all a 9 or a 10. So after I send in a boatload of them, I get the results, and some of them are 6s or 7s or for whatever reason 8s, and so I kind of like go back to the drawing board every expo where I'm like, okay, like I have like a 7 in this one. Now I have to find a way to get like a 9 and or a 10. So there's a lot of like rebuying happening. But I mean, fortunately, like a lot of the cards are so inexpensive, and they're found in like these binders that I can I mean, it's like between $3 and $5. It's like it's so much fun digging and being able to acquire them and really like inspecting this card that would otherwise be like valueless for most people. I also picked up a big PC item for me. This is a Ronaldo Mega Cracks. That's his rookie card. So grabbed it in a PSA 6. This is like my favorite player of all time. I mean, I'm Portuguese, so it resonates with me. I watched this guy grow up and become one of, if not the best player in the world. And it's one of those cards that I didn't think was attainable for a long time. And so every time I see one that is within my budget, I'm like, I have to grab it.
Right on. All right. Well,
Yeah.
very cool. Mikey, you're going to run. Thank you so much for joining, buddy.
Awesome. And Coach Co, try the Mr. Minty kit. I'm going to be working on that to see if I can up some of my grades on my things. Just give him a shout out. Bye, guys.
All right.
Enjoy.
All right.
Take
Hey,
care.
Mike.
See ya.
See you, Mikey.
Take
So,
care.
Brendan, I remember you showed me the Messi during the show, and I was like, dude,
Yeah.
that's a grail type of pickup for a
Yeah.
lot of people. Like, that's a big card. How long had you been looking for one of those or coveting a Messi rookie Mega Cracks?
So it's a Ronaldo Mega Cracks, but that's okay. I mean, I have been. So this is my second one. So I grabbed one last Expo actually, and then this is my second one. And like I said, I mean, it's something that just really resonates with me. And so anytime I can grab one again at an affordable price, I'm like, this is the card I want. This is I see other cards at the same price range, and I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense for me to grab that when I can grab this.
A lot of people go to card shows looking to dig through the dollar boxes and that sort of thing. You mentioned that what you were looking for, some of those 0506 Young Guns you could find in them. What was your general takeaway, just so people who weren't there can get the picture you're able to paint as to, were there a lot of did you notice, were you looking for these? Were there lots of dollar boxes available, or was it mostly like showcase cards, generally speaking at the show?
Yeah, so one of the things I love the most about the Expo is the amount of dollar boxes. Like I feel like almost every booth has like not just $1 box, but like multiple dollar boxes. And like when I say a dollar box, is like cards that range from like $1 to usually like $20 or something in that range. I mean, there are boxes that have more expensive ones, but generally speaking, you'll find like dollar bins with like between $1 and $20. And if you really know what you're looking for, I mean, it'd be a great opportunity for you to grab cards that otherwise people they were okay with getting rid of at a certain price. Like for instance, I mean, the goalie that's playing his heart out right now for the New Jersey Devils, like, he just put up a shutout, and I think his latest comp on eBay for his Young Gun is like $35. And all I could think about was like, I can't even tell you how many of his Young Guns I passed in dollar bins last Expo, literally a week ago, and they were between $3 and $5. So just like, if you know areas of opportunity, and like there's a potential spot available, let's say for a goalie, like in the case of New Jersey, although I don't know how many people would think that Vanacek would get the hook after 2 games, but just little areas like that where you're like, wow, that's an opportunity to literally 10x from a $3 card, because I don't know, I was searching. And then it's actually one of the things that I like the most about not only this hobby, but when I'm spending time specifically on like the Thursdays and the Fridays, where it's like not as busy, I can take my time and sift through and be like, you know what, like if this guy is on the right team, or if this guy has the right line mates, like this could very well be like a $20 or $25 card, and it's like a $3 card right now, right? So just like finding the diamonds in the rough is kind of it's something that I'm really proud of.
So Sam will remember this. So Sam was at my booth with me. He had a showcase and a couple of 4-row boxes. And when we were setting up, he's like, well, maybe I should get another showcase for my 2 4-row boxes. I said, well, hang on a second. Those 4-row boxes, they have that dollar box feel, but almost every card in it was thick, and in like a top loader type of thing. I said to him, no, dude, I think you're going to have better success moving these cards if you leave them right there and let people come and do the old flip through. And I think that was a good strategy for him. I mean, Sam, generally, how was your action out of those 2 4-rows that could have been showcase worthy cards, a lot of them, but you left them in like a a dollar box kind of format.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out perfect. You're absolutely right. I mean, people just it was easy. I left space so they could just flip through the cards quickly. And whenever they found something they liked, they pulled it out, put it to the side. And yeah, they were buying it. I mean, I must have sold at least a good roll and a half from that box. So yeah, it worked out well.
I mean, every time listen, we're in the same booth and I'm kind of facing this way and you're facing this way. And every time I looked over, you got cards laid out. You guys, the guys are working on deals. Like you were deal making like 80% of the time that you're at the booth, which is, I think, a good rate.
Yeah, it was busy. It was amazing. We were like talking with friends and then, like meeting new people, and we're just like making deals or pulling stuff out. And I guess when people feel comfortable, like putting a face to a name and know that you're like a straight up guy, the deals were just flowing. Like, and you were busy too. Every time I turned around, you were always doing something, talking to someone, doing deals. It was just amazing. It always is.
It was a lot of fun. I'm going to go to some comments here. Scotty Nobles, the connector was where I picked up my Young Guns, my Crosby Young Gun 9.5. So yeah, that's that hallway between hall 4 and 5 that probably gets a lot more traffic than people would expect, as people are, especially because to get to the autograph guests or the main stage, you got to go through that connector. And it's real easy. Every time I walk from hall 5 to hall 4, I made sure to like walk slowly through there and kind of look in the showcases to see if there's anything I needed to, make a pit stop and try and do a deal for. So good for you, Scott. Glad to hear you got it. Jeff McMahon, what's going on? There's Stammer in the house. Good evening, Ralph. Good to see you. Expo was fire. The Loud Collector's in the house. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Says, I can't believe Sam isn't wearing his Leafs jersey. Tomorrow you will be, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Daniel, what's going on? Kelvin in the house. Good to see you, Kelvin, and to meet you in person. That was awesome. Mikey from Eastridge didn't make the trip. Mike, listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You missed out, buddy. You missed out. But Mike has a card shop here, so business need to run the business too. Ladies Man wants to know what size of the show is Edmonton. Great question. I would recommend go to the Sport Card Expo website, Ladies Man, and look at the floor plans for the two shows. You can see them basically kind of side by side, and you'll get an idea. But it's smaller than Toronto. I'd say it's a lot smaller than Toronto. I don't know if it's a quarter the size or a fifth the size or what, but it's Edmonton's a great market for the hobby, and it's probably the second best market for the hobby after the GTA. Montreal's good too. I'll give it that. I was at the last Montreal show. But Edmonton's just really good. I mean, they've got Wayne Gretzky, they Connor McDavid. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Scott found a lot of $1 or $2 to $5 boxes. Some were like 40 to 75% off. That was what I spent most of my time on. Picked up over 300 cards from those types of boxes. Like that's an attendee's dream. It's also a vendor's dream to move 300 of those cards where someone else has a better strategy, or maybe as a vendor we have other cards that are priority for us for showcase space or just attention to move or to trade with. But Scott, that's in his wheelhouse, so that's pretty awesome. Congrats to you, Scott. Collector's Dream, what's going on? Terry Sloat, I will be, just me on the screen right now, will be at the Edmonton Expo. Cannot wait. We'll see you there for sure. And then an anonymous Facebook user says, I really enjoy watching some of the kids growing up. I see every Expo show maturing and growing their collections. Isn't that the fact? I'm noticing, like I've, again, been set up there. Maybe this is Frankie Fives. I'm not sure who this is, but I mean, if you've been set up there for 10 plus years, or I started setting up in 2005, so I'm 18 years now. There's a lot of people have been set up there for over 20. You see I remember meeting kids when they were like 10, 11, 12, and now they're like in their 20s and they're still there. Like, how cool is that, right? Like, I think that's pretty cool. Chris from Dolly's. Thank you, Chris, for letting me know. Chris from Dolly's LCS in the GTA. All right. Good. Well, I've got a few things to talk about. Pickups, deals I made. Anything else from you? Anything else, Brendan, you want to mention? I want to let you get going when you're ready to.
I just want to say thank you once again for everybody who comes out to, not just this show, but, any local show, any card shop, even engaging in conversation about sports cards. I mean, you kind of mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I feel like the hobby's in a really good space right now. There's just such a great sense of community, and all of us can attest to it. Just from that dinner, just from some of the interactions that we've had, some of the acts of kindness, some of the inclusion that either we've been in on or witnessed happen. There's been a lot of instances where, I mean, there was an instance in particular I can remember from the Expo where, I just saw the community really band together in
Tell the
the
story.
most positive. Well, okay, let's do it. So I was at the Relics booth, and shout out Relics, my boys over there. It's my local card shop, actually. And a guy came by who had sold cards there the day previously. Now, he sold cards at that booth. A regular from the shop walked by the booth and was like, "Those are my cards. Like, how did you get them? Someone actually stole them from my dorm room this morning." And so this person had sold stolen cards. They had just established whose cards they were. This guy came back the next day trying to sell the remainder of these cards to the same booth. So 2 Relics. He goes back to Relics with the remainder of the cards because he didn't sell them all in first shot. Tries to sell the cards. And the amount of people that, the authorities were contacted, and they had to basically wait for someone to arrive. Even you can't do like a citizen's arrest or anything. So the amount of people that were trying their best to engage with this individual and to prevent them from leaving without making it seem like it was, he was being caught for something. Like they were fully in on it. They were like, "Okay, what do you need me to do?" And they were like, I'm going to pretend that I want to buy his cards, and I'm going to be looking up comps. And so, I mean, they basically milked like 15 to 20 minutes, like out of this guy, until eventually he moved on to the Mint Ink booth when he kind of felt a little weird about like all the people around and whatever. And at which point he tried to sell the cards to Johnny. Again, shout out Johnny at Mint Ink. And Johnny confiscated the cards. And shortly after that, the authorities arrived, and they asked him like, "Hey, like, whose are these?" And they're like, "Oh, like he said I stole them from like literally said I stole them from my friend." So apparently they lived in the same like dorm room, or not dorm room, but like dorm house. And and the guy was taken away, and I don't know what ended up happening further, but just I just saw so many like I saw 2 LCSs come together there. I saw all the entire community around, and not in like a rubbernecking way, but everyone asking what they could do to help. And as an instance like that where stolen cards, you might not get your money back, you might not get the cards back. In a lot of cases, I mean, this had a happy ending, and it had a happy ending because of the community. And it's just, it astounds me every day how great this community is, how great this space is. And it's tough to go anywhere else and find something like this where people are so passionate about the integrity of the space, about the foundation of the space, about it coexisting with other people. Like, I mean, if we treated people like this on a regular basis outside of the community, not we, like, I'm sure we're all great people here, but as a whole, like the world would be a better place. So,
it's a great story that everyone did rally together to kind of, catch the criminal in this. And it's kind of interesting. The hobby can be divisive. There's a lot of issues out there that can be divisive. But there's one thing that we all will rally together for, and that's to catch thieves, whether it's a breaking into an LCS or stealing cards from your dorm mate and then selling them at a card show. Like, the worst place you could probably sell them is the card show that day where everyone's going to be.
And then go back again.
Yeah.
Back again. I think we did him a favor getting him off the streets, or the hobby did him a favor to get this guy at least a slap, whatever would have happened. We don't know. I don't know what happened to him, but a slap on the wrist or whatever he's going to get. Yeah. Maybe did him a favor. He doesn't hurt himself. Doesn't sound like the sharpest tack in the box, but it's nice to know that, you know, despite some of the differences that hobbyists we can have, we all can rally together when it comes to that. So yeah, thanks for telling the story.
Of course, man.
Yeah, very good to hear. So and I also like how you shouted out like people who go to all the shows and people who go to trade nights. And again, it's the hobby community and inclusiveness is just it's a really nice thing. Is this? I'm now putting it together. This has to be the content that Jay from Mojo Sports. Right. Reed's nodding.
That was it.
That was it.
That was it. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah. Okay. It's funny. Like even the rubbernecker in you kind of wishes you could have seen it, right? I didn't see any of it. And part of me is like, I'm glad I'm not a part of it. I would have, of course, wanted to help and chip in, but didn't happen at my booth and all that. But you kind of want to see it still, just to see the guy walk out in shame after he's literally stealing cards from people. That's it's one time when I don't mind seeing somebody kind of have shame. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You tell him, Jeremy.
Reed, did you catch wind of all this? Were you aware of what was going on?
Yes, like a little bit, because I was walking around and I saw like two guys walking with two police officers, and it looked like they were on a mission. Like, they weren't just walking around the show; they were beelining somewhere. I'm like, okay, something's going on right now. Like, I didn't find out till later when I saw Mojo and all these other people posting about it, what actually happened. But I saw these cops. I'm like, okay, somebody did something, because they were beelining right towards a booth, because people were leading. Like you said, people in the community, they were leading them there. Like, this is exactly where you need to be right now.
What's on?
He was probably not leaving. Like,
quick hello to Rico Petrilli calling us hosers. I'll take that every day of the week, no problem. Good to see you, Rico. So I want. Where was I going to go with this? I forget. So I'm going to go to this next comment. Actually, Terry Sloat says here, not as many investors at shows like there was in 2021, 2022. Collectors are back in full force is what I've found at the shows we've set up at lately. The hobby and interest is strong. And now I remember what I was going to say was that it felt to me, there were overpriced cards in the room. There always are. I had some very overpriced cards in my showcases. Overpriced. They don't want to sell them, but I also don't want to be someone who doesn't put prices on my cards. I found that some vendors that in the past were still hanging on to those 2020, 2021 prices had adjusted. And where I feel like, coming out of the pandemic, there was this hangover for those all-time high prices that people were still wanted to get or didn't want to lock in some losses. I felt like there was more fairness in the room from a price point perspective in the cases where people actually had prices on the front of their cards, which I, like most people, I hate having to ask somebody the price of every single card in their showcase. I wish, and sometimes you don't have time, and I get that. But if you do, I wish people would just put prices on their cards, at least as a starting point. But Reed, what were your thoughts from that perspective in terms of just the prices that you saw? Did they seem better than they had been in the last couple of years? The same, worse? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is my first expo, so I can't really compare it to other expos. But I'm from the U.S., so when I go to a U.S. show, I'm scouting for that one or two hockey showcases, right? And I would say definitely overall a lot more reasonable. Obviously, there is some cards that you see and you're like, wow, that is way out of whack. But I remember like a few cards specifically I saw that I was interested in on Thursday. By Saturday, they had slashed the prices down to a lot more reasonable number. Like I was surprised to see that on a few cards where they maybe somebody had said it to them at the booth that was crazy, or if they kind of just realized or wanted to move some stuff. But I actually noticed a few dealers actually kind of changed the prices on their cards as the weekend went on as well. But I'd say overall pretty reasonable.
Yeah, good to hear. That's interesting that prices change, but I've done that myself. Sometimes you get some feedback on the price of a card because some people just know more about a card than you do, even if it's your own card. And I think if you're willing to be adaptable and you do have motivation to move the cards, whether it by sale or in a trade, if you have a more palatable price on your card, you're more likely to have it engaged in a deal, which is going to open up more opportunities for you from just a dealing perspective. So good to hear that people were doing that. Sam, what about you? What was your takeaway? I mean, Sam, when you weren't at the booth with me, you're buzzing around there. I mean, it's great having you as a booth partner, because we can watch the booth for each other when we got to run off and do our things. But what was the takeaway from you? Kind of just the general pricing structure in the room.
Yeah, I felt that there was definitely a price decrease, because some of the like Gretzky PC cards that I bought, like I paid a lot less than what they were selling for a year and a half, 2 years ago. Like they were triple the value, right? So it was nice to be able to acquire some cards at reasonable prices compared to what they were. So yeah, that was great. And I kind of always find myself going to the same booths because the people I know, and I know that they have the cards that I like. You know, Jared, we're the same. We're like, we kind of always buy off the same guys. We look around the room, but you know, and people were willing to negotiate, right? People were willing to trade. So like everybody was like, I don't know, they were like in a good mood, ready to make deals. Like nobody was saying no. It was like, this is my price. And you know, if you talk to someone, tell them, look, I think you're like it's overpriced. And people were like, okay, what do you think it's worth? Like they weren't like offended or like there was no like disputing. It was just like, it was very, you know, like a bunch of collectors talking about stuff and making deals happen. So I thought there was some good opportunities to buy, for sure.
Pretty funny. You say we buy off the same people and that kind of thing. There were a lot of times, Sam, when a card would come by the booth and like I'd see it and I'd be like, wait, show me first. I know, Sam, we both want the card. I'm gonna try and like bully my way in there to get it, sort of thing. But we kind of have fun playing that off each other. Yet whoever ends up picking up a great card, we're always very happy for each other. So that's some nice camaraderie. Brendan, before you go, and you're gonna go right away here, I know. Your final like comment on what you thought, how you thought cards were priced. I think this is interesting to a lot of people that weren't there, how the cards were priced. So what was your takeaway on that?
Yeah, I mean, like with most shows, you're gonna find that there are some people that, I mean, are somehow even above eBay comps, which I find like eBay comps are like usually pretty high. You know, like I find that if you're negotiating with someone in person and we're like, there's a cash transaction, you're not paying any seller fees. Generally speaking, you know, the price comes down a little bit, usually, right? Because both people are motivated to make a deal, if they're motivated to make a deal. But some people had prices well above even eBay comps, which I found fascinating. And they were for like cards that you see on a semi-regular basis. So, I mean, to your point, like, you know, they maybe haven't really adjusted to the new times, or maybe they're in on it super high or whatever the case may be. Those are the booths I didn't really double back to. So I'm not quite sure if they ended up flashing prices towards, you know, Friday evening, Saturday. But generally speaking, I think that pricing was fair. I probably spent as much, if not maybe a little bit more than I normally do, which is probably telling that, you know, that I found that prices were good on the things that I wanted. And so I was super selective on what I was buying. So I kind of had blinders to the rest of the cards, but I do remember specifically that, you know, it's the price of some cards and specific players. I was like, what is that the price? And like, I even had to like look up, I had to pull the like check comps on eBay, not obviously in front of the person because that's disrespectful, but like as I was walking away, like, oh, great stuff. And you walk away and you're like scrolling eBay. You're like, oh, okay, it's not just me, you know, like it's not, I'm not crazy. So
yeah, there's definitely still some very aggressively priced cards in the room. I felt like it was a lot. The occurrence was fewer than at the past couple of shows. Well, Brendan, thank you again for joining, making the time. I do appreciate it. And what are we doing on? Why don't you shout out what we're doing on Sunday for your channel?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So on Sunday, we're going to have Jeremy on the Cardboard Coaches on YouTube, myself and Sports Card Cartel. We do a sports card podcast, and we're going to be talking a little bit about our Expo experience, and we're going to have Cartel there talking about his experience as a dealer, as well as running or helping run the Mint Ink booth. So that'll be really interesting. And we'll chat a little bit about how we feel, with the hobby space, where we're at, and maybe ways that we can improve, maybe for the next expo. So and we want to get to know Jeremy and his collection a little bit more. So head on over to Cardboard Coaches on YouTube, and you'll be able to find us and many other great interviews.
And follow, if you're not already following Brendan, on TikTok, Instagram, Coach Co Collectibles. It's on the ticker right now. Well, Brendan,
That's correct.
Go ahead, Sam.
What time is it Sunday?
So it'll be posted Monday morning. So
okay.
we record on Sundays, and then Monday it gets posted. So it's not live like Jeremy's.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
At least we know one
Appreciate
person's going to watch.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate it, Sam. There you go.
Yeah, no problem. Nice meeting you.
All right, Brendan. Thanks so much, buddy. Good to see you. It was great seeing you in Toronto last week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, man. All right. So I'm going to do some, I'm going to go to some comments here, guys, and then read. I really want to hear the story because it happened around me, how you picked up what I really think is an unbelievable card.
Yeah.
I want to hear the story about it. So, but first, Mark Meredith, big shout out from the UK. Mark, good to see you. Michael Ham in the house. What's going on, Michael Ham? Always good to see you, my friend. Perk says, you guys are making me want to go to a show less than 3 months of the National. I cannot wait for the National. We'll see you there, Perk. We will see you there. 90s Hockey Collector, what is going on? Peter Collect. This is, we talk about, I mentioned earlier about Expo hangover deals. I did a deal with Peter Collect just yesterday. And Peter says, Thursday night was a great chance to have longer conversations with dealers without feeling rushed or that you were occupying too much of their time. Sometimes those chats can lead to finding hidden cards. That might be a subtle hint to a card. Well, no, he knew I had the card that we just dealt on. So, Peter, good to see you. Thanks for joining. And Rage says, what's going on, guys? Rage on with his annoying emojis in the building. Good to see you, Rage. Good to see you. And Frank Estella, good to see you, Frank. Thank you so much for joining. All right, Reed, let's hear the story. Tell us what the card is, who you collect. Just give us the story, man. I think it's really cool.
All right, so I'll start with I collect pretty much 90% of my collections. Jason Robertson. Dallas Stars, yeah. The rest of my collection's also pretty much Dallas Stars stuff. Every once in a while I'll throw something else in there, but it's pretty much Star stuff because I was born and raised in Dallas and learned to love hockey from a young age. So I'll just show you the card first. We'll see how well it shows up on camera. Might not be able to see the serial number, but it's the jersey number, gold, cup RPA out of 24, 21 out of 24. So this is a card that I was aware of before I went to the expo, but I was not aware it was going to be at the expo. The seller had it for a crazy price on eBay, offered him, I felt like, a pretty fair number. And you guys know sometimes they'll counter with an even crazier number. So I decided to just let that one go. And if it's meant to find its way to me, it will. So it was Saturday at the expo. I was walking around with Kelvin Collects, who gave a nice shout out earlier in the stream. I was wearing my Marty Turco jersey, and we went up to a dealer, just looked at his booth, and we were just talking to him for a second, and he's like, gentleman just showed me a Robertson Gold Cup RPA, number 24 of 24. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because I have a Google sheet where I try to track pictures of all the true Cup RPAs and the golds out of 24, because, people like to patch swap and stuff like that, so I'm trying to combat against that a little bit. So I wanted to find the guy and get a picture of it, because I hadn't seen 24 out of 24 yet. So he points them out, I track him down, and he hands the card to me, and it's the jersey number. And I kind of just start freaking out a little bit, because he I don't think really understood the gravity some people hold on the jersey number. Definitely not as much as I'm very big on jersey numbered cards, like I know some people are. And so I started scrambling, because I didn't have enough Canadian cash. I had already kind of spent a good bit, and I didn't bring as much as it would take to get that card with me, right? So
it's 11 o'clock.
So I I tried to get my buddy Kelvin to help. He tried helping me. I sent him the money on PayPal because the guy would only take EMT, right? So
Which
I'm
you can't do. You
yeah.
can't do from the States.
I need every Canadian to understand that the people from the U.S. cannot do EMT. I've had many interactions on Facebook where they just do not understand that.
Yeah.
It's so second nature for us up here. Just that
Right.
we can email money from our bank, from bank account to bank. Americans don't get. It's like you guys. That's why you guys have Cash App and Venmo and all these other things.
Yeah.
We don't need them up here because we can
Right.
just send money via email.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like we all have PayPal, and I understand why, but it's a little frustrating sometimes when they're like, "Oh, we don't have it," because like you're saying, it's just so easy to do EMT, right?
Yeah.
So I sent the money to Kelvin, and he had helped another friend of ours actually get some cash for the Expo sports card spot. He had a great Expo himself. Yeah. So Kelvin actually couldn't transfer it to his bank. So I start freaking out all over again because every second that goes by, I feel like I'm going to lose this card. So we run over to your booth essentially and talk to Sam, and Sam was gracious enough to help me out and stood there for about 30 minutes with me while we were waiting for the EMT to go through to the guy's bank. And then it finally went through, and it was a relief and a rush of excitement. And I that card didn't go into my case for maybe an hour or more. I just walked around with it in my hand, just looking at it. So I was so excited to see it. It was just a wild string of coincidences that led to picking up a really big piece of my collection.
And I didn't even know that Sam was one of the people who helped you kind of put the money together. But see, there you go, more of that community, right? Especially because it's a card that was so perfect for your PC. And to me, Cup RPA is probably the most important rookie card a player gets every year. I say probably because some people might not feel that way, but I think it is. And then you've got the gold parallel out of 24 or out of 12 for some players, depending if they're a 99 RPA or a 249. So J-Rob was a 249. So his gold parallels out of 24. And then to get the jersey number, which some players, it can't happen because their number is higher than 24.
Yeah.
So, but effectively, and not only that, the guy who sent you to the guy that had the card or pointed him out to you misread the card and told you it was 24. He was wrong. Like he just kind of made a mistake telling you the serial number. And you get there, you're not expecting it. You see it. You're like, what was the feeling like when you saw it? Like, did your eyes go buggy? Were you like, well, I tried to get it on eBay. The guy's I'm never going to get it. He wants too much. Like, how did you actually get him to part with the card for an amount that made sense to you, considering the eBay price?
That was so bewildering to me because I offered him more on eBay, right? A good bit more. And then like you said, my eyes definitely turned into dinner plates, right? I could not believe what I was seeing. And he's like, the price he said was the last comp for a gold cup RP out of so all of a sudden he's asking just whatever the last comp was. In my head, I'm like, where did this come from? I didn't bother bartering with him. Maybe I could have worked him down a little bit. I was like, I'm not risking it. I'll pay your ass because out of nowhere it was reasonable. It was less than I offered him on eBay by a good amount. Like he would have cleared more on eBay even with fees and all that crap,
if he took your offer.
Yeah.
So. And there's the power of doing it face to face, right? Yeah. Like you got cash in hand or you're trying to make it happen. But Jer, you had to see Reed come to me and ask me for the money. If I could have recorded it, it was the best thing ever. Here's a guy who I met on Thursday. He comes up to me like he lost his dog. He's like, Sam, can you help me? I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? Everything okay? He's like, yeah, it's Robertson. He's rambling on and on in my head. I'm just spinning. I'm just looking at him like, holy shit, this guy really loves this card. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, how can I help? And he's telling me like, oh, I can't do EMT and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, slow down. What do we got to do to make this thing happen? He's like, yeah, I'll send you this and this. And then I'm like, okay, so I'll send. And it's just amazing that he landed a monster card and we don't like we don't even know each other that good. We know each other now. We're great. Like we're good now. Like we're good friends. We'll always have that story to to tell. But it was amazing just to see like his face, and I'm like, holy, that's what I look like when
Yeah.
I love a card and I need that card and I can't lose that card. So it's just a moment. Like it was kind of nice for me to be like, if like it felt like kind of special that I was able to help him. So it was
For
a good,
sure.
feeling all around.
Yeah, it's a
Honestly.
great feeling to help somebody land such an important card for their PC. I think a lesson to be learned, in addition to what you said, Sam, is also like, sometimes people put cards on eBay at really high prices, kind of, fishing, let's just say,
For sure.
and you can make an offer. Some people are going to take offense to your offer that's like, say, less than 50% of the ask, but some people might not take offense to it, and you might even accept that offer, whether it's on eBay or in person. You just never know. So I think there's something to be learned from that, which is, don't always get scared away by a crazy high sticker price. That might be a leftover sticker price from the last show. Maybe the guy either just didn't have the time or forgot to change the price tag, or is just taking a chance that some sucker will come up and pay it, which, is too bad for that person, but I'm sure that happens at shows too. Or they're just, waiting for the right offer to come along, and they'll do a deal and work with the right buyer. I know for me, I'll move on a price sometimes. Depends what the card is, but I'll move on a price for the right buyer, because you want to help them out. You want to help out a fellow collector, even when you have your dealer hat on. So great story, Reed. Yeah, Collector's Dream says great story and congratulations. Ryan Cheltenham says great Expo, boys. Thanks for the Sittler limited logo, Sam. You the man. Yeah, Sam had a ton of action. 90s hockey collector, I'm with you on the jersey number thing. Very special card. Yeah, I mean, Reed, you kind of expressed just how important to you jersey numbered cards are. I'm with you. I like them a lot. To me, they're important too, because they're the rarest card in the print run. If you can say, you know what I mean? Like they're all, technically they're all the exact same rarity. Technically, maybe they're all 1-of-1s because they all look a bit different by that one serial number in front of the slash. It's going to be different on all of them. So really, they're all kind of 1-of-1s. I know that's a little bit of a stretch. Maybe that's an eBay 1-of-1 kind of thought pattern there, but nonetheless, I'm with you. I like jersey numbered cards too.
Yeah, it gets you that one step closer to being like feeling like you are the truest collector of somebody, or like especially I'd say especially with non-patch cards. Sometimes like they all look exactly the same. Only one of them has that extra little detail that matches that number on that player's jersey. Yeah, I think it can make it really special.
So okay, I want to ask you both this next question. I'll ask you first, Reed. What deal did you do where the card you moved, like, did you do any trades where you moved or sell cards where you moved a card out of your possession?
Yeah, I did one trade. Yeah, I did one trade at the Expo
where you moved cards out. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if this question really applies to you as much because you only did that one deal, but I know from watching Sam move, cards in and out all weekend, the question was going to be, and you can choose to answer it or not, Reed, was like, what card did you move that you kind of got that warm and fuzzy feeling that it was going to a collector who really wanted, maybe a deal where you did come down in price or sold a card for less than you wanted to because you wanted it to go into this person's hands. Like, so Reed, you only moved in one transaction. I don't know if you can answer that. So maybe we'll start with you, Sam. Does something come to mind for you where
Absolutely.
A card you moved?
To the gentleman who's holding, well, I bought a card to the gentleman who's hosting the show, and I felt that you gave me a little bit of a better deal because we're boys. So, and I was able to acquire a card that, I've seen before and it's not readily available. And when I saw that you acquired it at the show, I was like, man, like I bugged you the whole show for the card. Like I felt like one point you were going to turn around and say, I'm not selling it to you. Like
I thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought about that.
I was feeling the cold shoulder, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to push it. This is it. We're down to the last day. The deal happened right at the end. Right. Yeah. And, but that I felt that, I was able to acquire a grail from you, something that you know, I've never seen the card. I've seen it in Rangers and Edmonton Oilers, but I haven't seen it in LA Kings. So it was my first time being able to see the card, and I was able to acquire it from you. You know.
So we're talking, just so people know, do you have it handy? Why don't you show the card? Yeah, why don't you show I see Eli's joined us. Eli will know this card. Eli, welcome. Good to see you. It was great seeing you as well.
There it is. Yes.
Yeah, like this card along with this one. I'll show that card, and where'd it go? Hold on, let me find this card. I got it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man, that's
amazing.
Here it is. So that card and this card came to my booth. Yeah, these two Gretzky's came to my booth, and I traded for them. Both of them. It was a straight trade deal. I also got this card in the deal. This is a pretty cool Yzerman Exquisite patch, numbered out of 10. So I got these 3 cards in a pure trade. I just gave up cards out of my showcase for these 3. And I was like, do I want to move them? Because the card that I did move to you, Sam, is a card that I don't know that I like. It's out of 10. It's as Eli or Chris here says, the original scripted swatches, kicking it old school. Yeah, that's the original. What the Cup then started doing in the Cup, they started doing scripted swatches. This is called, what are these ones called? Signature swatches? It'll say right across the top.
Signature patches.
Signature patches. So yeah, that's the predecessor to signature swatches that come out in the Cup. And anyway, I didn't really know how to value it. I knew how I valued it when I did the trade, but I didn't know that was in terms of cards I was giving up. I didn't know what to value it for. You wanted it pretty bad, and I got the two together. I like this card better for me, so I was like, all right, Sam wants it. Let's do a trade. We did a trade, and I'm glad it went to you. That was pretty cool.
I did quite a bit of trades like that. I acquired cards that I really wanted on my PC. I don't know if you want, if you're
ready. Well, I want to let's get Reed's. I want to hear about the trade that you did, Reed, where you traded away some cards. Is that maybe it's not an interesting story. Maybe it is. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, it was, I went to a booth that it was somebody I actually had known, I'd spoken to on Facebook a good amount, and he had a Rope Hints Future Watch Auto Inscribed 9.5. I actually got it the day before he got a hat trick in the playoffs. So that was a pretty good timing. But I had a horizontal Josh Norris, the rookie class patch auto out of 25 from the Cup this year. Pretty nice, gold and black patch the whole way through, lots of gold. And I knew the guy was he really liked Norris. He likes a bunch of the Sens guys. So for me, it's tough to trade because I just buy all these PC cards that are really important to me. So it's hard for me to move any of them. I do find myself a little bit envious of somebody, Mitch Grotman, who has all these really cool cards that he can really wheel and deal with, because he has all this variety of really cool old stuff that people really want. And he was doing that most of the Expo, but I was able to, throw a little cash on top of the Norris. And I think the value I had it on the 2 cards, I was really happy with what I got back. And I'd been looking for some nicer hint stuff since he doesn't really have much, especially in the Cup, for example. So I think it was a really mutually beneficial trade, especially somebody that I was friendly with before. So it was nice actually making a trade for once instead of just always paying cash.
It is for sure. It's nice. I'm sort of a bit like you in that I don't love making trades because I just can't get them figured out in my head very well. I mean, Sam can attest to this. Even though we did a deal at the end of the show, it's I'm not the best at trading. I'm better at, I'll buy a card from you, I'll sell a card to you, and it's kind of like a 3-way deal. But I feel like the more trades I make, the more comfortable I become with it, which is pretty kind of just a weird thing coming from me. But that's kind of the way it is. How do you respond to that, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a science in trading, and I definitely don't have it down either. It's just kind of you put a value on a card, you add some traders, I like to leave some meat on the bone for you if you're gonna move that stuff. So I basically give it away for whatever I paid, maybe even lose a little bit sometimes, but it doesn't matter to me because at the end of the day, you know, I'm doing it for a card that I really want. I'm not trading to buy a card to flip it. Like I'm trading it because I want to keep it in my PC. So for me, even if I lose money, it's not a big deal because the end goal is to where I want to get. I want to get the card.
Yeah, I guess it's another thing to think about. Each deal is unique, but when you are getting the best card in the deal, you're probably going to give up a little bit more value, because even for me to do a trade, I give you one card, you give me, I think I got 4 cards back from you in that deal. I mean, it's 4 cards that takes up more room in the showcases. It's just more stuff to carry. I'm not saying these things are heavy or anything like that, but I mean, it's just, you know, you're trading down in a way. And I think most people like to trade up, especially when you're looking for that PC piece. So when I'm not trading for, I always try to, when I'm doing a trade, I try to make sure I'm going to get at least one card that I know is going to go into my PC in that deal. And with you, Sam, it's this Brett Hull right here that came back to me, and this is going to go with my Supreme patch collection. So I was really happy to get this, and I've actually had somebody try and get this from me since, who saw it when I did my video. They said, "Oh, was there a Brett Hull Supremes?" I said, "No, there wasn't a Brett Hull Supreme." No, I said there was, but I think I ended up getting it for my own collection. So
That's a beautiful, beautiful card. I even debated bringing it because I'm like, I'm going to bring it and I'm going to sell it for sure because it's just such a nice card, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm glad it went to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, man. I do appreciate it. It's nice to get it back. A couple of the other cards I got in the deal, I'll just show you. I got this Clayton Keller rookie year limited logos, number 50 of 50. Kind of cool. Not a jersey number, but read the 1 of 50, the 50, second coolest numbers, right?
Yes.
To the jersey.
I don't put a whole lot of weight into it, but I know some people really do enjoy that stuff, and I
enjoy it.
That's good.
I enjoy it. I don't know that I'll pay a premium for it, but I do enjoy it. I think it's neat.
Yeah.
So I got that one also from Sam, that deal. And then I got, this is an Ed Belfour limited logos. And this card, Sam, the autograph is so bright blue and bold. It's like you want to look, and it's a nice, it's a nice 3-color patch there. It's definitely got some black coming down the edge and in the corner, but that autograph is just ridiculous. And it's a short print limited logos 2 out of 25. So
nice.
I got those 2 back. And then the last card I got back from you, Sam, was this Peter Forsberg limited logos. Not in my PC, not a PC card for me, but also short print out of 25. So, and Forsberg stuff is just hard to come by, but yeah, I was at the end of the day happy with that deal.
Remember I was telling you I upgraded it?
Yeah.
And I told you all the patches are very mediocre. You want to see the upgrade?
Yeah.
It's got 2 lines.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. 2 lines.
That's why you were able to trade this one, because you got that one, which is it's better, but I mean, not a lot.
It's not really better, but
too funny.
I thought we talked about it, so I thought I'd show it.
Yeah. So I did, when I wrote the description for this episode, I mentioned that I lost a bit of my hobby soul at the Expo, and I want to explain what I mean by that. It may or not be what people are expecting, but I want to tell that story. But first, Sam, we've heard it from Reed and his big pickup. We've seen one of your pickups. Let's see one more of your pickups from the show.
So this was another trade that I was able to acquire, this Monster Jagger.
Dude,
beautiful
tribute.
Okay, he's gone. No, thank you, Sam. You're off the show. No, I'm just kidding.
Still here.
Hold on. Let me bring you guys. All right. Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I didn't know you got that until after.
So this deal was from the last Expo that we had finalized months later. And then this was Stammer's card. We did a deal. He bought a big card off me that he really wanted. And I was supposed to go see him, but we never got to see each other. So this just sat with him for 6 months. And then he brought it to the Expo, and now I have it in my possession. So that was really cool. Yeah. And then I did another trade for this one too.
Oh God. Oh, the upside down version. Oh no, that's not the upside down version. Dude, you showed me this one. Like, this is the thing about me setting up with Sam. Every time he comes back to the booth with a pickup, I'm like, if I saw that first, sort of thing. But you're not afraid. You're also not afraid to pull the trigger, you know. And I respect that. Like, that was, dude, beautiful card.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Oh, yeah,
thanks.
yeah. Alex in the house. What's going on? Got to dine with Alex that night. I forget what night was that, Reed, that we had dinner. Was that Saturday?
Saturday night, yeah.
Saturday night, yeah. Says, are we going to the keg? Well, we're gonna try, but we're not gonna get in, so we're gonna end up back at Jack Astor's, and we're gonna try Boston. It's gonna be lined up, so we're gonna go to Boston Pizza. It's gonna be lined up, so we're gonna go back to Jack Astor's, wait an hour, and finally sit down as we're all getting a little hangry because you don't eat all day at the expo a lot of the time. Anyway, that true story right there. Good to see you, Alex. It was nice to hang out with you at the show. Okay, so I'm gonna tell a quick story here about losing a bit of my hobby soul, because I truly feel like I lost a bit of I was saying my hobby identity at the show after I did that deal, but then I'm like, no, I didn't. It's not an identity thing. It's like a bit of my soul. So I moved a card that I had owned for 15 or 16 years. And it was like, for most of those years, it was the best card in my collection, like from a value perspective. And it was a card that I was going to, sell to pay for my daughter's wedding kind of card, or sell to put a down payment on my kid's house sort of thing, and I took it with me because, well, first of all, it's a Bobby Orr rookie card. I'll tell you what it was. It was my PSA 8 Bobby Orr rookie card, which I've owned since 2000, and I forget if I bought it in 7 or 8, but one of those 2 years. And it's a card that, like, when you've been collecting Hall of Fame hockey rookies for so long, and you need a Bobby Orr in that collection, and when you buy one of the 45 or so nicest copies in the world, it's a PSA 8. There's only 2 graded higher. I think it's now a pop 47 or 46. I checked, but I don't remember. But when you drill it into your own head that you own one of the top 45, say, Bobby Orr rookies, that's similar to being in baseball and saying, I own one of the top 45 Mickey Mantle 52 Topps cards, right? It's like, it's that kind of level of prestige that comes that came, at least in my own head, with having that in my collection. It was kind of like people knew I had it. I'd take it to the odd show just to show people that I knew would want to see it, friends and that. But I never considered selling it. And I did consider selling it for this show because I've since acquired a PSA 5.5 copy that I actually liked more. I actually liked it more than the 8. So, and there's reasons for that. So I had in the showcase, and I had several people ask me about it, and what do you want for it? And I had a price tag right on the front of it. People still ask, what do you want for it? Well, the price is right there. If you want to know what I want, I was like, well, what do you want to pay at that point? Anyway, a guy I know I don't know him all that well, but people I know very well know him very well. So it was like he came up to the table. He was up from the US, and he basically made an offer. He was making it on behalf of his I don't know, friend or whomever. Made an offer. I countered. He said, well, let me see, let him know. I'll let you know what he says. He came back later on in the day, and he said, all right, he's willing to do it. And I said, okay, well, that's all. I'm like, okay, well, that's great. At the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I just sell this card that has been kind of like part of my hobby soul for, I don't know. It's the first time I've spoken like this. It's the first time I've thought of it like this, that can a card really make up part of your hobby soul? Like, Reed, you picked up that like a very important card for your Jason Robertson collection. And by the way, it's not like we're talking about collecting a third string or a third line player. You're collecting a guy who is the real deal. Like Jason Robertson he's on a great team. They got, I think, the best goalie in the league in Ottinger, one of the best young defensemen in Heiskanen. They've got other firepower up front, and we're not even talking about Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, like 2 of the veterans there. Like, they've got so much fire. I just think that's why I was so impressed with your pickup, Reed, because I just think Robertson is such a great player. So if you were to move that, like if you were to hold that and Robertson continues to have a great career, and you were to move that card for whatever reason, because you were happier with your 24 at 24, let's say, or for you, you're 20, you have 22 at 24, whichever one it is, you might feel like you lost. Like, I feel like I lost a bit of my hobby soul. Am I the one who goes?
Absolutely, absolutely agree.
Help me feel normal here, guys.
No, I totally understand. Yeah, I feel like there would be a piece of my heart that left me. It's been a part of you for so long. It's
like 15 years, and it's not even like, you know, Jason Robertson's one thing, he's an up and comer. Bobby Orr,
Yeah,
is in the
Bobby
argument for the
Orr.
greatest player of all time.
Best defenseman of all time.
Yeah.
So I sell that card. You know, we work out the financial aspect of it, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, did I do the right thing? You know, well, I know that I did well on it from just what I got out of the card. I was happy with, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized I don't have any seller's remorse. None. I still, right now, I'd say I lost a bit of my hobby soul. That's a different thing than having seller's remorse. I don't have any seller's remorse because I have another copy that I like even more. Even though it's lower grade, I don't care. I like it more. And there are reasons based on the condition why, the way it appears, its presentation, its aesthetic. Sam, sorry, you were going to jump in.
No, I was going to say that. I think if you got rid of your 8 or and it was your only copy, you would have felt like, wow, you probably would have never sold it. But I'm just saying, hypothetically, you got a crazy number and you were like, okay, then you would have been like, wow, that's like that's really a big card that like I lost a big piece of my heart. You know what I mean? Because they're close to you. Like you feel like you lost a piece of your heart. But having the 5 makes everything warm and fuzzy because you like it better.
I do. And the 8, I can say, and even the buyer knew it and said it to me, my 8 was a below average 8. It may not grade an 8 today, you know, because of the inconsistencies with grading, with human grading. So it may not grade an 8 today, but is it going to be a 7 or a 7.5? Who knows? You'd have to break it out and send it back in. But the buyer recognized that it wasn't that it was a below average 8, and I knew all along when I held it that it was a below average 8, which is another reason why I was okay letting it go. If I had the best 8 ever, now I don't have one of the top 45 copies, and my copy might not. There are 7s that were nicer than my 8, so it might not have even truly been a top 45 copy. But if I had the best 8 going, now I've got a top 3 copy, and I don't know that I ever let it go because it's just such an amazing piece to hold. So, yeah, it made me, one thing I like about my decision was that I'm realizing more and more, over the just being so immersed in the hobby and in cards, I'm realizing more and more that the grade is not the end all be all. We hear about eye appeal, especially when it comes to vintage. It's so much to me. It's just more important. I'm truly happier with my 5.5, with the 5.5 representing Bobby Orr in my collection than I was with the 8. So that's that story. And that was a deal that kind of made the whole expo, from a deal perspective, worthwhile. Being there, I could do no deals. And Sam knows I went in with very low expectations. I was ready to not do any deals because I didn't have a ton of inventory like I usually do. I had different inventory this time, and that deal, was a good one as far as the numbers, I guess you could say. So
you killed it once again, bro.
Yeah, it ended up being it's if you go into anything with low expectations, you might come out happy. Yeah. And I came out went in with low expectations, but came out like pleasantly surprised with just how the overall weekend went from a sales and trading, from a card movement perspective. The experiences, seeing old friends, making new friends, just being there in the energy and the environment, that's better than the deals for sure. All right. So thanks for letting me tell that story, guys. Scott Noble says, I feel like Sam bought a Forsberg Black Diamond Ruby off me on eBay recently. Could that be?
Most likely, yeah.
Most likely. Brad 31 says, did you sell your Wagner? If you're talking about my my caramel Wagner, I did not. I didn't even have it with me. It was not available. Bo Sports Cards, who is funny, like this is an account on Instagram that I know it, I like it, I always check it out on IG. Didn't know who it was. I probably knew, but I forgot. And then I see this guy at the expo. He's local to me here in Calgary. I see him at our weekly show every month. And I'm like, oh, what's your name on IG again? He goes, Bo Sports. Because I'm like, you're Bo Sports Cards. Like
Chris, right?
Chris. Yeah.
Nice guy.
Yeah, very nice guy. Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for joining. Larry Moore says, I would have cried my eyes out if you moving the ore. Yeah, I think a couple of years ago I would have cried my eyes out, but I feel like I've this far into my hobby career, like literally 42 years into it, I feel like I'm still evolving and growing as a collector and as a hobby participant. And maybe maybe this is a step in that evolution. Mike says, not sure I would be able to make the same decision to sell an ore graded that high. Okay, you guys are starting to make me question myself. No, you know what?
If you saw the 5, you would understand why.
Yeah, Brad's asking to see the 5, and it is a beauty. And I'll tell you what, Brad, I don't have it within arm's reach right now. I wish I did, but I don't. I will post up my 5.5 on my Instagram here tonight. So check it out. I'll post it up on there. I'll post front and back pictures as well. So thanks, Brad. And Michael Stone says, good evening, Freaking Wild. Might be time for a new coach. What's that? I don't know what that's in relation. Is he behind in the timing? I'm not sure.
They're up 3-0 right now in Game 6.
Oh, the Freaking Wild. The Minnesota Wild. So the Stars are up 3-0. Listen, I mean, I got some good Minnesota Wild friends here. We got the fellas from the Hockey Cards Gong Show. They're big Wild fans, but I'm not going to pretend to think that I thought that they had a shot. I mean, Dallas, I think, is too good. I just think Dallas is too good. 3-0. So we have Colorado is winning 2-1. They're behind in their series against Seattle. The Hurricanes won the series. They took it 4-2. And the Panthers won 7-5 tonight.
Insane game.
Winning 2 in a row to take Boston to 7.
Wow.
A 1-game series now.
The game today was unreal.
Mitch must be really happy.
Oh, he was losing his mind. He was unreal game, back and forth. Both teams taking the lead at different points.
That's a crazy
game.
Wow.
I did not.
Can't believe Carolina took out the Islanders. They have nobody left on their team. But they just persevere, man.
Yeah.
They lost all their players.
Just a well-built team, though, you know?
Yeah.
Well-built, well-coached.
Yeah.
Michael Stone says, bring back the North Stars colors. I know that Josh and Troy would be all for that for sure. And Scott says, did you see Pasternak's goal? I didn't. What was that?
It's up close between the legs goal. At least that was one of them. He could have had I know he had 2. The other one could have been really nice as well, but I know he had a nice between the legs goal.
For sure. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys my favorite pickup. I'm going to go right to my favorite pickup, and then Sam, let's see yours. And I mean, Reed, we saw yours already, I guess. So, but if you have another pickup you want to show, I'm going to show my favorite pickup and I'm going to switch to this so we can get when we're showing cards. Hold on, which one is it? No, is it there? No, is it there? No, there. There we go. Okay, I can put any of us in here. So this card I picked up on, I think I showed this one somewhere, maybe on IG. I picked this one up the last day. I'm walking by a booth. Hadn't been by that booth at all. I'm kind of, walking pretty quickly, but I'm kind of walking like this, looking at the cards in the showcase. And I spotted this card. And this is a card that I wouldn't know a lot about, except that when I used to do the shows with Collectible, they offered on one of their IPOs, they offered a copy of this card in super high grade. And I fell in love with it just by analyzing the card during covering it for the show. And I saw this copy of it, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, this thing seems to be really centered for the era, for the age. But the grade seems really low. I wonder what the guy's asking. So I asked him what he's asking, and he tells me. And I'm like, well, that seems quite reasonable to me for a card like this. And let me look at it. So I look at it. Anyway, here's the card, 1950 Bowman. It's a football card. It's an Otto Graham rookie card.
Oh, yeah.
So this to me is an iconic image. This to me, I just love the pose. I love the uprights in the background, the clouds, the trees. I just love the card.
The color's beautiful.
Yeah.
The color is amazing. The registration, the color, the focus, the centering. It's a 3.5. I said to the guy who had it was so mad at the grade. He's like, I've graded so many cards. This is definitely a 4 at best. I thought it was going to get a 5. It's a 4 at worst, he said. But they gave me a 3.5. He was angry, but not like mad at anybody else except for PSA. So I showed him my other football cards in my collection. I said, listen, I'd like the card. If we can agree on a price here, it's going to join these other cards in my collection. So I knew I wasn't kind of just messing around or looking to insult him or anything. So we got a deal done, and I added it. And this is like easily my favorite pickup for my personal collection. I absolutely love the card. And Otto Graham, if you don't know, you look at his stats, he's like the second best quarterback of all time from an overall a personal achievement, awards, Super Bowls. I think he went to the championship final, something like, and I'm gonna get this wrong, but like 10 out of his 12 seasons.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's ridiculous. And I think he's got 7 rings. I think he's the only other player to have 7 rings in the NFL. Now I could be getting all these stats wrong because I forget exactly, but I looked it up and I'm like, wow, this is a Hall of Famer worthy of having. And I just love the card. Like, it's a card that I actually like had it beside my bed last night. Like, I just wanted to look at it as I was falling asleep. I don't do that very often anymore. So anyway, that was my personal favorite PC pickup. I didn't have a lot of PC pickups. My PC pickups from the show, and I have a couple that are in kind of purgatory that I was going to ask for some advice on, but like, that's it. Usually my PC pickup stack is like 2 of these, not one little thing like this. Those were all my pickups. Very little. So should I show the rest of them quick?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Picked up these 2. Picked up the Snoop Dogg and the Nirvana.
Oh, nice.
95 Panini stickers. And I picked these up. I got these from somebody I know pretty well. And we came to a deal. He said, well, I'll knock it off what I buy off your table later. He came by my table. Like, I think I got these on Thursday. Sunday, he finally comes to my table. I said to him, I owe you some money. He goes, oh, yeah. So he comes by. He's like, I forgot about that. He comes back and picks one card out of my showcase that I had the exact price on, and he just took that, and the deal was on. So I managed to trade for those and didn't have to put out money for them. So that was pretty easy. Got this from Sam. Showed you this guy. This card I got from Cooch. I think I got this from Cooch 86. Sam, is that who I got it from? Do you know?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think so.
Was it
So
Cooch?
Peter Forsberg, a beautiful emblems of endorsement out of 15 for my PC. Love that card. This was a funny one. Hey, Sam, this is an amazing Matt Sundin Cup signature patch out of 25 with a really sick patch in it. And this is a card that I bought off the guys that came by my table. This and another one. I bought this. And then right away, 5 people want this card from me, including Sam right there. 5 people are coming after it from me. And even since on Instagram, somebody reached out to me, said, well, what would you take for that? I said, well, my not for sale price is, and he's like, I'm actually considering that. I'm like, no, please don't. I don't want to sell it. And he respected that and didn't come back again. Or didn't slide into my DMs again. Bought this card off of Grant Patterson, I believe. At TS, I think is TS Sports Cards.
Total Sports.
Total Sports, yeah. Bought this off of Grant. I've got like 5 of these remnants cards out of 100 with nice pieces. So there's a nice Pavel Bure for that stack. And then Matt Chang. I mean, what a great guy to deal with he is. He brought me 2 of these that we actually dealt with before the Expo, but I picked them up. So I do these Upper Deck Cup base patch parallels, and this is from 0506, the Hextall and the Tony Esposito. So happy to get those in hand. And then finally, I guess I'm doing it, guys. I guess I'm going for this set here, the all-time Future Watch acetates. I picked up 5 of them at the Expo. I already had 7, so I'm up to 12 of these things. I don't know how many there are. There's at least 100, maybe 101, some weird number like that. But I guess I'm going for these. I know Amit's going for them too, so we'll have a bit of friendly competition there. But picked up 5 of those. I got Adam Graves, Brendan Shanahan, Mark Recchi, Yari Curry, and Mike Gartner.
Are those numbered, Jer?
No, they're not numbered, but they're rare. They're very rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I would, just based on my gut feel and experience, I'd say that they're definitely less than 50 is what I feel them to be. So I showed you guys these two cards already. This Forsberg and the Belfour. The Forsberg's definitely not PC, but the Belfour is one of these cards I'm on the fence on. The Keller is not PC. That'll be at the Edmonton Expo, my showcase. And then the other two that I'm just not 100% on are these two, the Yzerman and this other Gretzky. I'm just not sure if I'm going to make them PC or I'm going to make them available. I don't know. And does that ever happen to you where you trade for cards and you can't decide, do I want to put them in my PC or do I want to make them available? Like, that's what happened. That's what's happened to me right now. Does that happen to you guys?
For sure. Yeah. Usually when I'm trading, I trade for a PC card. So I feel like when like you're on the other side, like yourself, you're always, like you said, you're always trying to get at least one card that's PC, So I feel like when you're buying the bigger card, you're always kind of like, okay, do I want to keep that card for PC? But one card's always PC. So
right. Yeah, exactly. And then I want to shout out Nick Martelli. Nick's a guy that watches the show, comments a lot, a great viewer of Sports Cards Live. Came by the booth several times. It was just nice to get to know him. And he gifted me this Teemu Selanne 25th anniversary Upper Deck card. So whenever I have a new system now, because, you guys know, people gift you cards every so often, right? And it's always very nice. But I never tracked it. And I always I know someone gave me this, I don't know who. So now I got smart and I put a little gift from Nick Martelli, 2023 spring. I put a little piece of paper in there. So I'm never going to forget where I got the card. And Nick, if you're watching or listening later, thank you again, buddy. It was great to see you, meet you. Thank you for the card. I also picked up, I forget the deal, but I picked up a Wayne Gretzky Young Guns, which is the one that I prefer, the 01. And so that's kind of cool. I'm not sure not sure if it's going to be PC or not as well, but I care less about it than I do these two, because these are both awesome cards. I have a nice Yzerman PC going, and I love that it's game used, and it's even got a puck mark right on it there. It looks like, as long as that's not stray pen that happened. I'm hoping that's puck mark, but a nice exquisite out of 10. So we'll see what happens with those. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to show this card. This has nothing to do with Expo, but I have this card on my desk right now because it's my Jake Ottinger RPA from Ultimate. But look at this patch.
That's great.
Reed, I'm sure you watch for these. I've seen several. I got this on ComC, so this came right out of an e-pack.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the patch. You don't see them like this. I've probably seen a dozen of them, and this one's numbered out of 99 on card.
Nice.
To me, this is better than his cup, because his cup is out of 249.
Yeah.
To me, I mean,
I get the rationale for sure.
Yeah, just strictly from a print run perspective. So anyway, I'm just showing you cards that are on my desk here, and that's about it. So I want to see more of your pickups, guys, and then we're going to wrap up. But very quickly, Todd McDonald here says, you have the knowledge that some kid likely enjoyed that 5.5 more than the kid that had the 8. The 5.5 has more history. That's a good comment, Todd. And that may be the case, but I can tell you the 5.5, it's got a few qualities that I just like more than my 8. My 8, I won't get into the specifics, but yeah, it's just I'm happier with it. So very good. Scott Nobles, so awesome. Happy to have my Patrick Waugh Acetate Future Watch auto in hand. Acetate Future Watch and the Future Watch auto. Yeah, I saw that, Scott. Congrats on both of those. Jeff McMahon, thank you very much on the Yzerman. All right, over to let's see, Reed. You told us about the J-Rob Gold jersey number. You told about the inscribed Rupe hints. What else did you pick up?
Nothing's in the arm's reach. I can do my best to explain.
Let's hear about a couple.
So I got the Max Dome. This one was kind of, I feel a little silly, but it just seemed like too good of a deal. I got the Max Domi Ultimate Rookie Shield from Grant Patterson. Just the price on it for how skilled of a player he is. I know he's kind of a journeyman at this point. I think he's close to really finding a good spot. I think he got like 60 points this year. The price he was at just seemed too good, even comparing to some of his other stuff that is sold. I was like, well, here's my first Ultimate Rookie Shield. I thought it was pretty cool card. It's not something you see every day.
For sure.
And
also, just about Max Domi for a second, I remember seeing something on Instagram or Facebook, a reel where Mark Wahlberg was like, did you see that? Mark Wahlberg's like, yeah, my boy Max is in town playing for the Dallas Stars now.
It's so odd. They're like really good friends.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, where on earth did that come from? Right.
And I love watching Mark Wahlberg in movies. I think his movies are always really good. So that was kind of cool to see that him and Max Domi are good buddies.
Yeah, I thought that was so interesting when I saw that.
Same.
Let's see what else. I got two of actually 3 of the SPA Marty Turco rookie review patch autos. I got one from Sam, along with a nice, I think it was 0910 4-color Turco signature patch.
Yeah.
I always try to pick up Turco stuff, and I know there's one guy that has like 90% of the Turco stuff in existence, so I try to pick it up where I can. So because he was the guy when I was growing up for the Stars, like pure nostalgia for me. And
what about Belfour? Where did Belfour fall in there for you? Was he there long enough to be
little too early for me to have like a real emotional attachment to him? Obviously, I still like him a bit because he helped us get that cup. But
there he is.
I know. I showed Sam I have a pretty one with a pretty sweet patch as well. Not the short printed one. I do like that at a 25. So I tried to pick up some Marty Turco stuff. Digging through some of the dollar boxes, got like a little, Mike Modano like I think 01 titanium out of 185. Just love the shiny stuff. I got the nice patch, the 22 out of 24. That was a pre-Expo deal that I just picked up at the Expo. So don't need to worry about that being in the mail at all. I feel like I'm missing one thing. Oh yeah, I also got the clear cut canvas autos, the Jason Robertson, the red ink out of his jersey number 21. It was a card that I wasn't necessarily after because I think the ink where he signed doesn't show up very well, and I'm very big about how a card looks. Kind of like your 5, like you think it looks better than the 8, so that's important to you. And I'm very card aesthetics is a very important thing to me. But it was just at a price. It was like a third of what the last one sold for. And then the second I bought it, I looked at it closer. I'm like, okay, actually, this auto is showing up a little better than it shows up in the pictures online. So it was one that I was initially buying just because it was so cheap. And then the more I stared at it, the more I started to really like it. It was kind of a cool thing.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, congrats on all those pickups. That's all pretty awesome. I want to also shout out a guy by the name of Andy who gifted me a deck of cards, but not any deck of cards. This deck of cards is called Stars Behind Bars. Okay. The checklist on this thing is unbelievable. And it does include both on the Ace of Hearts, a Kobe Bryant.
Oh my gosh.
And on the Ace of Clubs, none other than Marshall Mathers III, my boy Eminem, which this checklist was amazing. And I don't know if any but here they are. I just took them out to pull a couple out, but these are awesome. And they're playing cards. I don't think I'll ever use them to play. He was telling me, well, put them in sleeves and top loaders and you can use them as cards. I guess I could, but to me, it's a collectible. So if Andy happens to be watching, I want to thank Andy for that as well. Sam, let's go through your pickups, buddy. Because
okay, so this was a smaller trade that came in. It's a Vasilevsky patch auto. They had bought a bigger card, and this was kind of just thrown in there.
Limited auto patches, always like those.
Yeah, this is gotta give a 2 shoutouts to Grotman if he's watching, and if he's not, I'm sure he will watch. We made a deal on this card, so this Yager limited logo. I'm now 2 cards away from completing the set, and there was a card he really wanted from me, which was the Esposito honorable numbers, jersey numbered 7 out of 7, super short print. So he had messaged me on Instagram. I didn't know who he was. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, I'm not selling it. Like, these are all PC. Like, beat it, basically. and then I met him, and I'm like, oh, so you're the guy from Instagram. And then I liked him, and I was like, listen, if I move that card, I need something like that. I really need him back. And he showed me the Yager, so we made it happen. Long story short, I'm very happy to have.
Congrats, beauty.
This beast. So
Beauty.
I picked up the. I also got Thornton was another one that I was missing. That one just came in the mail. That's not Expo, but so that brings me to 2 more for the set. So that'll
Congrats.
be exciting when I get there.
How many cards are in the limited logo set that year?
This one, I think there's like 60 something.
Okay.
I just
That's
want to
good.
show you something cool.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
picked up this.
Oh wow.
Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna just make you bigger here. There you are. Yeah. Yeah,
They're
that's
both
really
kind
cool.
of the same patch. So his is kind of upside down.
Right. Nice.
So I kind of got that, which is cool. This was another. Okay, so this was a trade I did with Ryan Cheltenham. So for the Sittler, he bought the Sittler, and I took this in trade. This is the Balfour SSP to 10. Cool card. I do collect Broder. Just really wasn't into this year, but I it came in trade, and I was really happy to acquire it.
Yeah.
You know,
Broder.
Okay, so here's a funny story. Matthews. I saw this card online when the product first came out. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
The player is kind of brutal.
It's an SP Authentic limited auto materials out of 10.
Out of 10. Okay. So basically, some guy had this at this booth. We ended up making a trade for a few Crosby autos, Dale Howard Truck Foundation to 10. I can't remember what the last card was, but at the end of the deal, he ended up giving me $200 back. So I got a card that I was after, PC, because I collect Matthews always as a Leaf fan. And I was really happy because these are really hard to find to acquire this piece. And I got rid of cards that, I mean, of course I loved, but not even remotely as close as this one. And also Mitch Grotman, he gifted me a beret. I don't even remember what it's the cup. It was not an auto, but gold beret to 25, and apparently one sold this week for like $125. She's like, dude, that card that I gave you is 100. I'm like, what, really? I'm like, you want it back? I kind of feel bad. Yeah. He's like, no, I gifted it to you, so I don't have it here, but it's
just take my advice and make sure you don't forget who gifted you the card.
Yeah, no, I won't forget. That was really nice. And then, I mean, the big monster pickup of the show was this bad boy here.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big card.
Number to 5. I got this from Stefan Perot. You know, I'd walked by his booth a few times. I didn't even notice it until I went back again and saw it there. And he was building. So I collect a lot of limited logos, and he was building the 0607 set. And I have a whole bunch of them. And he gave me like a price list, and then I ended up trading him like, I don't know, 6 or 8 or maybe even 10 limited logos from that year to kind of cut down the cash price on it, so I didn't have to liquidate so much cash. It was like literally half trade, half cash. So that really worked out well for both of us, and I was able to acquire that monster. And then this one just, I don't know, fell again, one of those Expo stories that just fell in my lap. I ended up acquiring the Addy Balfour 101 Monumental, which I collect Balfour. So this came from Monumental Museum.
You know, I'm not much of a booklet card collector, but I would make an exception for a Monumental. That might be the only booklet that I would make an exception for.
Yeah, like when I saw it, and I was like, I have the jersey with the patch on top. You know, the Sundin that I wear
Yeah.
to the show. I'm like, this brings me back to like literally the last time the Leafs made the second round.
Yeah.
Okay. So so when I saw it, I was like, it's a 101. It's Balfour. I collect Balfour. He gave me a wicked deal on it. So shout out to him.
Yeah.
And I bought it, right? And
well, they were hanging out at the booth with us for Justin, one of the Monumental Museum brothers, was hanging out with us for quite a while.
All Saturday, pretty much. He hung out with us.
Yeah. And he had the 2 McDavid oil drop monumentals, the rookie year and the subsequent year. And I said, hey, can we just put those in my showcase? Like, yeah, for sure. We put them in the showcase, and it was like people were just beelining to come see those 2 cards. So
yeah,
that was pretty impressive.
Crazy collection.
And then I did something. I've made this mistake twice now. I got to make sure I don't make it in the future. The mistake is when you see a couple, or you have a couple cards in hand that are not yours, but you post a picture of yourself with them on Instagram, and then everyone's like, "You got those?" I'm like, no, I should have put hashtag not mine. You know, so that's what you got to do. Hashtag not mine.
Hashtag Monumental Museum.
Yeah, just have the privilege of holding them for a few minutes. Yeah.
So I got a couple more to show you guys.
Yeah.
This was another card that I wanted to get, and it's very hard to find a nice auto. And this auto is probably one of the best I've seen. I know it's just a 1 color patch. Doesn't bother me, but it's look at that mug. Like
I love that picture of Yager. That is a great picture.
This just brings me back, man, to when I was like 10 years old. I love this card, and plus I have a real soft spot for all-star cards. I don't know what it is. They're just like, look at that teal. Like,
yeah, that's great.
Like you don't see that anymore.
Well, that's why, because the colors, and you don't see them. I mean, most cards are in their professional uniforms, or their team uniforms, not the all-star. I'm with you, Sam. I like the all-star cards. Well, awesome pickups, dude. Thank you for showing them. Oh, and
got more.
There's a couple more.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is an SP Draisaitl out of 25 that I picked up. Yeah. This guy, I forget his name. He's a guy out of Edmonton, really tall guy. I buy a card from every show. He really hooked me up on that card. Like he did me a solid. I don't know if you saw these pickup, Jared. Did you see the Francis I got at the end of the show?
Show me quick. We have 4 minutes until this show's over. No, I didn't see them until you put them on your Instagram. I saw them there.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I got these 2.
Well, I saw the.
No, you saw this one. Sorry, you saw this one.
I saw the other one. Yeah, that one that you picked up early on at the Expo.
And then these 2 are the ones I got afterwards.
Yeah, I didn't see those. Those are awesome, dude. Congrats. Yeah, congrats. Anything else? Are we done?
Well, if you got 5 more minutes, and then there's just these 2 I got from a meet.
Oh, nice. Who? Gilmore and
Balfour again.
Nice, man. Nice.
It was a funny story there. Quickly, Amit's going through these boxes, looking. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna send this to Come See." And he pulls out this Gilmore. I go, "You're sending what?" Can I see what's in there? And then he had the Balfour right beside him. I'm like, "Dude, that's like I want to buy those right now." And he's like, "Okay," and we made the deal. Long story short,
nice.
So yeah,
very nice.
I got one more. Sorry, Mitch Kropman. One more. Mitch.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to Mitch. This was a deal that he showed me the card. He's like, "What's it worth?" And I gave him the value, and he made the deal on the card that he bought, and he brought it to me, and then I bought it off him.
Nice.
So lots of things going on, man. It was.
I know. Fun. It's crazy. You can be at the same booth as somebody and not even know half the cards they're getting. Like that's how busy it was, and how awesome the Expo can be. So okay, I'm gonna run through comments, and then we are going to wind this baby up. Fellas and everybody watching, thank you for joining us. Brad 31 here says Belfour was my first hockey jersey. Blackhawks, of course. Yeah, to me, Blackhawks is his main team. I also feel that way about Jeremy Roenick, who played in a lot of other places too. Dave Snyder, welcome to the show. That Belfour was fire. That Howe is sick, says Brad 31. And Dave Snyder, I think this is when you put up the monumental Mitch. I called this. How many times have I called you Mitch from last week? Sam. It says, "Oh my God, that is not even on a chart. It's so off the charts." Thank you, Scott. Says, "Thanks for the show and tell. Love the stories. Appreciate the peek into your show experience. It was good to see you there, Scott. And thank you for sticking it through 2 hours, guys. We're gonna wrap this up right now. You good, Sam?
Good.
Reed,
thanks so much
for having me.
All right,
Keep
guys.
in touch.
Hang tight one
absolutely.
quick
Happy birthday, Jer.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, happy
Happy birthday,
birthday.
buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys. It's my birthday, and I'll cry if I want to. Yeah, thanks, guys. All right, well, that's it for now, everybody. Thank you so much. Back tomorrow night. Corey Fick from Show Your Slabs. Gonna have a good conversation with him. 10 o'clock Eastern. And for now, this episode is over.